Ladies and gentlemen, gentlemanly ladies, my LGBTQ family, welcome to a special edition of Coffee with Dragan. This is gonna be a movie review and a commentary on the stock market. Put yourself some coffee, tea, or whatever you want, and listen carefully, lest you might miss some important words that might change your life for the better, hopefully. Isle of Dogs. Who let the dogs out? Woof, woof, woof. Who let the dogs out? Woof, woof, woof. My love for music, rock, rap, hip-hop, techno, and all music genres aside, movie review, Isle of Dogs. Loved it. Loved it. Went to see it yesterday, and of course, some of you who watch my videos or who will watch this video, if you don't know, I'm gonna let you know that I'm going often to a cinema, a theater that is. And so, the movie review is Isle of Dogs. What I meant to say, got distracted by a text. I'll close my cell phone just in case, like you should do in theaters, right? Right? Theaters, yeah. Then I'm doing reviews sometimes 2 or 3 months, maybe 93 days or 77 days or 61 days, whatever the case may be, after they go regular cinema or theaters, although sometimes do attend regular cinema, because this cinema where I go is one that is a special cinema that has reduced price. The ticket is actually only $2.50 per ticket, and you can buy 20 tickets for $20, so that comes up to $1 per ticket, which is great. And it's actually in an old neighborhood where I used to live on the island of Montreal called Côte-de-Neige. It was near Hampstead, and it's of course a more lower income neighborhood, and of course the theater is affordable for families and low income citizens, or brothers and sisters who of course live on lower wages, lower income, are unemployed or on welfare and stuff like that. And so it's a theater where I've often went to, of course. So I've spent many years struggling financially, and I'm struggling financially at the present moment in time, looking for employment ways to, of course, as an artist, to make a living financially out of my poetry, and even wrapped up my videos, which I'm not making at the present moment in time, of course, for my creative capabilities. You can go check out my poetry. You're invited to go on my Facebook or on the YouTube Public Poetry Project. I have many poems put there publicly already. Of course, as a writer of short stories and a writer who's now working on script writing, of course. Many ideas, but I have to learn, of course, the industry standard for writing scripts. There's an industry standard, right, for writing scripts. I've read about it, studied a bit, find it that for creative people there's a lot of restrictions, as it seems very regimented. But anyway, that shouldn't stop anybody who wants to write. Maybe believe that the movie industry especially North America, needs a new fresh wave of creative millennials, such as myself. Millennials, those born after 1982, of course, or 1984. So, no dystopia, pun intended. Anyways, movie review. So, the cinema shows movies with a little bit of time difference, that is, of a few weeks or months, of the movies that have played in the regular cinema, right? So, to go to see it, often there's still, it's not far from where I'm living at the moment now, anyways, still in the sort of what I call the center of the island, Hawk Island, that is the island of Montreal, Canada, North America. So the Isle of Dogs, right? It's a interesting way how it's made. It's like cartoonish, but it's more almost like clay figures, you know. Like the movie, it's actually a blend of the cartoons, right? Sort of like clay figurines, like, you know. But I've really liked it, and it's actually more than meets the eye to the movie. To me, it's a social critique. But it can be very subtle critique, and of course it has that humor, which sometimes is very dark. It's not excessively violent, although it has some violent scenes, but I was amazed how it chose to depict those scenes in a very mild manner. But even in those scenes, it's something to teach you about, so you have to see the movie for yourself, and if you haven't seen it, it's a social critique. My take on it, of course, it's of a social, psychological dimension about our interactions between us humans, and of course the dogs. In this case, it can be also pets generally, but this specifically is to dogs, man's best friend. And of course you have that ideal of also about the corporate encroachment, that is the corporate takeover in a way of our political process, or of our politics in general, that is through lobbying and through big mega corporations, which are led usually by somebody who cares only for profits, for self-aggrandizement, and not people per se, but does it for self-interest, for greed, you know, those lower base elements which we should all fight constantly, we should fight to elevate us to become a full human being. And of course it's the main story of a young boy, 12-year-old, who goes to look for his dog, right? And there's a lot to it, in my opinion. You know, there's that childhood innocence thing that we should all find in ourselves, reevaluate and rethink about. And I don't want to give a spoiler or spoil it, so I'm not going to give a spoiler alert, but I won't see it. But by the end, you will see it. If you see it, let me know what you think of this. That we need more youth in politics, and that's, as a millennial myself, somebody who's 33 years of age, doing it right now, recording it right now, right? I was born in 1984. We have a lot of ideals which we were thinking as children, as growing up. You know, myself, of course, being from a background of struggle and poverty, and that, you know, so there's that element of wanting to change the world for the better. There's that element of idealism in it, and also, of course, of intelligence in the youth, of our youth, which, so there's a lot of dynamics. It's, of course, has to do also with of course, this, you have to pay attention to the dialogue between the dogs, right? Because a lot of the dogs have dogs because it's a reflection upon us as well, our human society, and of course of social inequality, especially socio-economic and class. Class is definitely a major theme of the movie, like social classes, rich, super rich, the rich, the middle income, and of course the poor. It definitely touches upon these themes of class and prejudice and what have you. And it's an interesting movie to actually analyze in terms of course, the dialogue, but also to get something to reflect upon. And of course, if you have a pet, how do you relate to the pet? How do you relate to the pet with other pets and other people who are pet owners and such. And of course, the corporations that, of course, have their interest to manipulate our humanity in a way of our relationship to pets. In this case, it's a big corporation who wants to get rid of the dogs, right? And it tries to make them go, and it achieves it in certain respect, but it wants to go even further, not give everything away, but through the designing, through science, to create certain conditions that people are repulsed by the dogs, and that they give it a vote and this touches on, of course, political policies, the policies that are implemented in our countries. This, of course, happens in Japan, but nonetheless, it can, of course, reflect upon Canada, United States of America, the West, maybe all G7, G20 nations as a whole, because there's a lot of corporate control or corporate influence in our politics and the political system, to lobbying, to different. So that is part of it, of course. That is a major theme of the movie. So do recommend it, Isle of Dogs, for anybody to go see it if they so wish. And let me know what you think about it if you saw it, even if you didn't like it. You said it totally sucked. I'm sure that if somebody would watch it a second time, myself included, would probably discover in the dialogue. It's important to pay attention to what the dogs say between themselves and how they relate to each other, their conversations, because it's also a reflection upon our society today